Hi everyone, today's tutorial is on drafting, specifically 3D drafting and building of 3D models in a free AutoCAD drafting program. Now, the good thing about this lesson is it helps students understand the importance of drafting and scenery. There's probably nothing more important in visual representation than drafting to show how to build something. And part of that is the importance of scale. You see I have here your PowerPoint presentation from last semester on drafting, which I put in your module on unit support for scenery. Excuse me. It's good to go over that if you get a chance. It's only 19 slides long. It's not that big a deal. But scale is what we'll be looking at today and how important that is in drafting, particularly in 3D drafting using the tinkercad program. So we're going to use half-inch scale, which means 1/2 inch is equal to 1 foot or to 12 inches, however you want to put it. So we're going to get started. Now, first thing you do is go to the Google, and you're going to type in Autodesk Education. See, it's already popped up here. You should get a screen something like this. Software for education will be just fine if you click on that. You want to get something like this. You get the Autodesk website and education. Now what you're going to do is you're going to have to register for this. And if you have students, they're going to have to register for this as well. But if you use an educational email address, .edu, like your muw.edu email address, you will get access to all these wonderful programs, and they are all free. If you had to buy them, each one would be hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. But these are not just student issues. These are not just student versions. These are full versions. AutoCAD is the standard for drafting professionally. We're not going to get into that because it's very complicated. Maya you might have heard of, which is used for 3D animation. 3ds Max is used for game visualization. We're going to be looking at tinkercad. So once you register and you pick out your username, password, and all whatnot, you're going to click on the tinkercad logo, and this takes you to the dashboard. You can see I've already got things set up here. Your screen should look like this, and we're going to go right into create new design. Whirligig for a moment, and we get the work plane. Okay, this is our drafting space and our building space. You can see it kind of looks like a mat, a sewing mat or a model making mat that you might find at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. This is what we're going to be drafting and building our set pieces on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a 4 foot by 8 foot platform that is 1.5 feet tall, 1 feet 6 inches high, and it's going to have a flat on top of it with a door frame. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but first we need to learn a little bit about navigating around the work plane. Now you can see over here to the left of your screen, you can zoom out or zoom in. You can home it, which is default view. You can do flat view, which we're not going to worry about. And then this home button, I guess, yeah, just reorients. Now those are great. If you want to use them, you can. But there are easier ways to do it. For instance, your mouse wheel. You use that. If you pull the mouse wheel towards you, or wheel it towards you, I guess, it will zoom out. If you wheel it away from you, it will zoom in. As you can see. Also in this corner, upper left corner, you'll see this cube. This shows the orthographic views. Go straight top, or you can do from an angle. Or we'll go top front. So you have that as well. Now, some other things you should know. If you hold down the mouse wheel, you can pan. And probably most useful, the right click button, if you hold that down, it'll let you change your views. Come underneath, go over. This is probably the most helpful. When we're doing 3D drafting, it's important to be able to see it from all sides, all directions. Okay, so that's navigating the work plane. We'll go back to the default view. Home in, as they say. Now, we're going to edit the grid. This is what it is, basically a big grid. You see over here in the lower right, edit grid. Click on that. Now, the units for this right now are in millimeters. Well, that's great, but we ain't in France. We ain't in England, so we're going to go with good old American inches. Okay, so inches. Now we're going to customize the size of the workplace. We're going to make it 12 inches by 12. So we're going to go into width and click so you have your blinking cursor right behind this 787. Don't highlight it and try to type in 12. For some reason that wasn't work. So just put it behind that, backspace, 12. Once you do that, you hit tab and you get the length 12. Update grid. There. Our new grid, 12 inches. Now each one of these you can see goes across. Each one of these is an inch. And then it has the subgrid. Each one of these tiny little grids is 1/8 of an inch. That's going to help us. Okay. Last thing we'll do is do snap grid. You see that over here. Click on that and put it on 1/4. So I'll explain in a moment what that does. Okay, we're ready to draw. We're going to make a 4x8 platform that is 1 foot 6 inches high in 1/2 inch scale. We're going to click on these boxes. These are transparent boxes here. Click on box. You'll see a form. Now you see this is where snap comes in handy, because you can snap every 1/4 inch, which is every 2 of those little grids. So anywhere I want, I'm just going to click there. And you can see over here it says hold. Don't worry about that yet. And all sorts of things that are lovely, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to do our shaping here on the work plane. Let me get it a little. Okay, so you see we have a box here. Now we're going to make it 4 foot by 8 foot in 1/2 inch scale. So we have to figure out how many inches that is. We're going to do the width first. That's 4 feet in 1/2 inch scale. That's 2 inches, right? 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. 4 feet equals 2 inches. You see these little boxes, these little white boxes here? Those are called grips. We're going to grab a grip. You can see it's already told us we have a 1 inch by 1 inch box. So we're going to grab a grip. And because we have snap, it'll automatically snap to those grids. There we go. That's 2 inches. So we got the width right. Okay, now let's do the length. 8 feet in 1/2 inch scale is 4 inches, right? 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So do that 4 times. That's 4 inches. 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus, you get the idea. 4, whoops, grab that grip. And see, it's telling us. Isn't that helpful? Okay. So we got that. Now we get the tricky part. 1 foot 6 inches. If 1/2 inch scale is 1 foot, then that means 6 inches is 1/4 inch, right? Because 1/4 is half of 1/2 inch. So we'll click on it and you'll see you have this top grip that tells us we have a 1 inch high box. That's 2 feet. So we're going to go down 3/4 of an inch. There we go. And then this is where you can hold down the right click button and you can see this is it. This is what we want. Okay, that's our platform. We're good to go. Now we're going to make the flat that goes on top of it. And that's going to be a 4 foot by 8 foot flat, a 4 feet wide, 8 feet high. And because it's a Hollywood flat, it will be 3 inches thick. So let's go ahead. Now we can make a box, so we're going to put it right there. And we're going to grip it. We know. Excuse me, I said 4 foot 8. I meant 8 foot by 8 foot. Pardon me, along the back wall. My mistake. And we're going to make it 8 feet high, which in 1/2 inch scale is 4 inches. You got it. There we go. Okay, now the tricky part. It's going to be 3 inches thick. So in 1/2 inch scale is 12 inches is 1/2 an inch. 6 inches is 1/4 of an inch. That means 3 inches is what? 1/8 of an inch. Yay, very good with your fractions. So we'll change snap grid to 1/8 inch. And you can see, there we go. That is a 3 inch scale wall. Okay, now that we made it, we have to get it over to the flat. So what we're going to do, whoops, I didn't click that. You see this line? There's a line right in the middle there. We'll click on that line. It's a little tricky sometimes, but if you click on that line and hold down the mouse left click button, right? I'm left clicking and holding it down. I can drag it over there. There we go. Okay. Now, I've got it there. You can see the wall is just on the back corner, but it's still low. We got to get it up high, right? It's 1 foot 6 inches off the ground. So we need to move that wall up. So here's what I'm going to do. Whoop. You see this cone right there at the top. Left click and hold down the button. This will move it up, and you can see over down there on the right side how high up it's going. We want to go up 3/4 of an inch, right? Boom. There we go. We've put it on the platform. You can see now that it is part of the platform. Okay, let's go ahead and make these a solid. We're going to click on the wall. We're going to hold down the shift key and click on the platform. You see it has selected both. We're going to make it a solid. There we go. You can change any color you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to stick with red because that's how I learned it. And you can see all together. Okay, but we said we're making a flat with a doorway in it. Okay, well, let's do it. All right. So let's go back over here in the back part. Whoop. Let me pan over. New box. Okay. I'm going to go half. So I'm going to go about right here. That looks good. All right. We're still an 1/8 inch. I'm going to switch over to 1/4 inch for just a second. Okay, doorway. This doorway is 3 feet wide, and it is 6 feet 6 inches high. So, I'll take a grab. If it's 3 feet, that's 1.5 inches, right? 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. So, there we go. The height is 6 feet 6 inches, right? And that is 3 1/4 inches, right? 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 is 6, and then 6 inches is 1/4. So 3 1/4 inches. Okay, now we're going to make it the same thickness as the flat. So I'm going to go back to snap 1/8. There we go. Somehow I got off here. Oh, there we go. There we are. Okay. Let's move that puppy over here. We want to make sure, okay, it's centered in the wall. Let's see if I can explain this right. Which means if this is the center part, right, of the wall, it should have the same number of subsquares on either side. So 5 on one side, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It needs to move over a little bit, doesn't it? So it's even Steven. That looks good to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. All right, let's move it. Keep moving it till it's inside the wall. And then move it up again. All right? Because the platform height is 6 inches, and that is 3/4 of an inch. Go back to snap grid 1/4. Okay. Now it's time to make some magic. We got a door, but, you know, it's just a square in a wall. We need to punch out a hole. So here's what we're going to do. This is still, whoops. If you make a mistake like I just did, I clicked it, but I'll move the flat, just hit Control Z, which is undo, and that'll take you back. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to click on the wall. We're going to shift click. Oh, let's do it this way. Okay. We're going to click and drag and make a box that covers both the flat and the doorway. Not the platform, the flat and the doorway. Sorry, that's a better... Sometimes when you have a unit inside of a unit, it's hard to pick them both or select them both. So we'll just make a box by left-clicking and dragging. As long as it intersects with both the wall and the doorway, you'll be fine. And you'll see this, so it's picked both of them out. Now, it will highlight this little symbol here, which is group. If I click on group, boom. I have now punched a hole, and we have our doorway. Okay, so there we have it. We have a platform, and we have a doorway. Now, This is not very good or safe for actors walking through here if there's no steps. So we need to add some steps. Now, a good rule of thumb is steps should be 12-inch tread and 6-inch rise, which means they're 6 inches high and 12 inches wide. So we're going to make 2 steps. Box, put it right there. And incidentally, I recommend when you're building it that you do the hole or the transparent because it's easier to see things when it's transparent. If I make it a block, that's fine, but I can't really see behind it that well. Sometimes it's good to have information. Okay, so we know it's the same width as the doorway, which is 1.5 inches. Okay, it's going to be 12 inches wide, which is 1/2 inch. That's pretty simple. And it's going to be, there we go, and it's going to be 1 inch or 1 foot high, which is 1/2 inch. There's our door. All right. We're going to make another box. Snap it right there. It is going to also be 1.5 inches. It is going to be 6 inches high, so that's 1/4 inch, and of course, there. And see what we've done. Now we can click and then shift click and make them both solids. You see, with a 6-inch height, if this is 1 foot 6 inches or 18 inches high, then you have a 6-inch step down. That's 1 foot, or 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch scale. Then you step down 6 more inches, which is 1/4 inch high in 1/2 inch scale. And then the floor. So 6-inch height is a good rule of thumb, and it is kind of the industry standard, 6 to 8 inches. Okay, now we've done it. All right, here we have a perfectly lovely flat. Now we're going to click and drag, left click and drag, and make a box picking up all 3. We have all 3 units. We're going to group them again. What that does is that makes 1 unit. And there you have it. You have just made a perfectly acceptable 3D model of a set piece. Now, let's look up here in the left-hand corner. You'll see this bizarre name. It assigns us this random name, Stunning Usambumble, for this one, which is, I'm sure, quite lovely. But you might want to call it something more practical if you're a boring person like me. Platform exercise. Let's do platform and flat. Exercise. Enter. There you go. And there we have it. And then you'll see up in this left corner tinkercad dashboard. If you go back to the dashboard, it will automatically save your program. And you can look it, and you can either delete it, do something else with it, or it says tinker this. It'll let you go back and you can work on it more. But every time you leave and go back to the tinkercad dashboard, this will automatically save. Now, let's say if you do want to, let me show you a couple more things before we export it. You'll see it has, when you click on something, you have the grips. We talked about that, right? Moving those around, which we're going to Control Z because we don't want to mess with that. But you'll also see these little double-headed arrows. That's rotate. So if you click on that, you'll see, and it'll snap, you can rotate it around if you need to. Okay. And also, you'll see top, so you can spin it this way. Why you would do this, I have no earthly idea, but, you know, there's an option there. Okay. And that is a very simple way to do a flat. Now, once you're done, you may want to export it so you can print it out if you have access to a 3D printer. If we were lucky enough to be together for this residency, I would have a 3D printer and we could actually print a couple of things out and see what they look like. But let's say we are export. Now, all sorts of things. We use .stl. That's a very common one. That means stereolithography. Not that that means anything. That's some free information for you there. Won't be charged in your tuition. We want to click that. And it's going to download it on my Chrome here. It shows. I'm going to open it up. Bear with me for a moment. Going to bring up the program that I have that goes with the 3D printer I have here in my office. There we go. And there it is. This blue line is the opening of the printer. And again, you can spin it around, and this is what it'll look like in the printer bay. And then I don't have a printer hooked up right now, but if I did, I could click and find out how long it would take. I would say this would probably take maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours to print out. But there we have it, and then you can paint it and do other things, and you've got a set piece. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it was understandable. If I have time, I will do a PowerPoint screen capture and maybe do that as also a go-along guide. We'll see what we can do. But tinkercad is fun. It's a great way to teach kids about drafting, and adults as well, and about how scale is very important. You also can do classes. If you want to learn, you can create your own classes in here. You can learn. You have all sorts of lessons. See all a chessbond, ruler. There's a good, make your own scale ruler. Projects that you can do. It's a real good way to learn about 3D design, about visualization. I do all my sets now. I build them first in 3D AutoCAD before I actually build them because it helps find problems. And again, this is for pretty much all levels. Middle schoolers can do it, high school students can do it, college students can do it. So I would urge you to look at this, to teach about drafting, about visualization of scenery, and about scale. And please let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, it's tricky to do this if you're not used to it, but do it a couple of times, you'll be a pro.